Fracturing the Myth, the Hidden Mental Health Crisis in Black America. Good evening, everyone. I stand before you today not just as a speaker, but as someone whose understanding of mental health in Black communities has been fundamentally transformed. Recently, I had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Jorell Alford, a visionary researcher whose work is shattering our preconceptions about psychological wellness among Black Americans. Jorell isn't just collecting data, he's igniting a revolution in how we conceptualize, discuss, and address mental health disparities within our communities. His pioneering approach to disaggregating data has exposed truths that many of us have sensed but couldn't articulate. Through meticulous research and unwavering commitment to scientific integrity, Jorell has given voice to the unspoken complexities of the Black experience in America. His work doesn't just add to our understanding, it fundamentally reshapes it, creating pathways for healing that honor the rich diversity within Blackness itself. What I learned from Jorell has changed everything I thought I knew about mental health in Black communities, and I believe it will change your perspective too. For too long, we've discussed mental health in Black communities as if it's a uniform experience. The narrative typically centers around external factors like systemic racism, discrimination, and socioeconomic barriers. While these factors are undeniably significant, Jarrell's research reveals something far more nuanced that challenges our fundamental assumptions. Brace yourself for this. US born Black Americans actually demonstrate higher prevalence and risks of moderate to severe psychological distress compared to their non US born counterparts. Let that sink in for a moment. This finding from a comprehensive 2025 cross sectional study published in JAMA Network Open doesn't just add a footnote to our understanding, it completely reframes it. Think about what this means. The very experience of being born and raised in America appears to create unique psychological challenges for Black individuals that differ from those who immigrated here. This isn't just an interesting data point. It's a seismic shift in how we must approach mental wellness in Black communities. As Jorell explained during our interview, we've been treating the Black experience as monolithic for far too long. The truth is that ethnic identity, assimilation, and acculturation impact mental health differently depending on background. When we fail to recognize these distinctions, we fail to provide effective support. This insight forces us to ask deeply uncomfortable questions. What is it about the American experience from birth that creates this heightened psychological burden? How might the constant navigation of American racial dynamics from childhood affect mental wellness differently than encountering these dynamics as an adult immigrant with a different cultural foundation? The researchers behind this groundbreaking study faced significant challenges in addressing the common assumption that all Black Americans experience mental health issues similarly. Their solution was methodologically elegant. Disaggregate the data by nativity status and examine various behavioral and health related factors associated with psychological distress. What emerged was a complex picture that demands our immediate attention. The study successfully identified both shared and nuanced associations in behavioral and health related factors of psychological distress by nativity. This research now challenges mental health professionals and community leaders to develop more targeted interventions that account for within group differences in the Black community. But this is just the beginning of what we need to understand. A second key insight from my conversation with Jorell centers around awareness. Black teens and parents are showing heightened concern about mental health compared to other demographic groups. Recent data from a 2025 Pew Research Center study shows that 70% of Black parents express extreme or very high worry about teen mental health, higher than white parents at 55% and Hispanic parents at 52%. Half of Black teens reported being highly concerned about mental health, compared with 39% of Hispanic teens and 31% of white teens. This awareness isn't just statistical noise, it represents a significant shift in consciousness within Black communities. As Jorell noted, this growing awareness creates unprecedented opportunities for more open conversations about mental wellness in Black communities. We're seeing the beginning of a cultural shift that could transform how we approach psychological health. This heightened awareness didn't emerge from nowhere. The study was conducted against the backdrop of growing national concern about teen mental health and the potential impact of social media. What's particularly notable is that these findings suggest Black communities may be more receptive to mental health initiatives than previously understood, and that targeted approaches may be particularly effective in these communities. The third critical insight from my interview with Jorell addresses the persistence of mental health challenges in Black communities. Despite lower reported rates of depression among Black people, 24.6%, compared to white people, 34.7%, depression in Black individuals is likely to be more persistent. Black adults are also 20% more likely to report serious psychological distress than white adults. This persistence points to something profound about the nature of psychological distress in Black communities. It's not just about prevalence, it's about duration and intensity. The challenges may appear less frequently in statistical measures, but when they do appear, they tend to last longer and cut deeper. As Jorell explained, we need to stop thinking about mental health interventions as one size fits all. The persistence of psychological distress in Black communities calls for innovative approaches that address not just the presence of symptoms, but their tenacity and resistance to conventional treatments. To understand the full picture, we need to examine the impact of collective trauma as well. A 2025 study examined access to mental health care for Black and Latino teens with anxiety and depression, with particular attention to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The findings were sobering. Black patients and families were experiencing a lot of trauma on a day to day basis during the COVID-19 pandemic, creating additional stress for mental health providers serving these communities. This research emerged from concerns about the disproportionate impact of the pandemic on communities of color and the potential exacerbation of existing mental health disparities. What's particularly valuable about this study is that it successfully documented the experiences of mental health professionals serving Black communities during a particularly challenging time. These findings highlight the need for additional support for mental health professionals serving Black communities, as well as the importance of addressing trauma in mental health interventions for Black individuals. When I asked Jorell about the implications of these findings, the response was clear. We need to recognize that addressing mental health in Black communities isn't just about individual therapy or medication. It requires community based approaches that acknowledge collective trauma and build resilience at both individual and community levels. So, where do we go from here? How do we translate these insights into meaningful action? First, we must embrace the complexity. The Black community is not monolithic when it comes to mental health experiences. US born and non US born Black individuals show different patterns of psychological distress, with US born Black adults showing higher rates of distress. This highlights the need for culturally tailored approaches to mental wellness for Black professionals and community members. Second, we should leverage the growing awareness. The fact that Black teens and parents are showing heightened concern about mental health compared to other demographic groups represents an opportunity. This awareness creates openings for more open conversations about mental wellness in Black communities. Third, we need innovative solutions for persistent challenges. The persistence of psychological distress in Black communities calls for approaches that go beyond conventional treatments. We need to develop interventions that address the unique ways mental health challenges manifest in Black communities. As Black professionals navigating today's complex world, how might you incorporate mental wellness practices, not just as a personal necessity, but as a revolutionary act of leadership within your organizations and communities? Consider establishing mental health check ins as part of your team culture. These don't need to be intrusive or clinical, simply creating space for authentic conversation about well being can be transformative. As one community leader shared with Jorell, when I started asking my team, "How are you really doing?" instead of the perfunctory, "How are you?" everything changed. People felt seen in a new way. Advocate for culturally responsive mental health resources in your workplace. Generic wellness programs often fail to address the specific challenges faced by Black professionals. Push for resources that acknowledge the unique stressors and strengths of Black communities. Start conversations about psychological well being with your peers. Breaking the silence around mental health is particularly powerful coming from respected community members. Your willingness to discuss these issues openly can create permission for others to do the same. Remember that by prioritizing your own mental health, you're not just caring for yourself, you're modeling essential leadership for the next generation of Black excellence. As Jorell powerfully stated during our interview, self care for Black professionals isn't selfish, it's strategic. It's how we ensure our communities have leaders who are whole, healthy, and capable of sustained impact. I stand before you today not just as a messenger of Jorell's groundbreaking work, but as someone who has been forever changed by it. The research we've explored together challenges us to think differently about mental health in Black communities. It demands that we move beyond simplistic narratives and embrace the complexity of diverse experiences within Blackness. This isn't just about data points and statistics, it's about human lives. It's about the teenager born in America who feels a weight their immigrant cousin doesn't carry. It's about the persistent shadow that follows some of us longer than others. It's about recognizing that our collective liberation depends on our collective healing. I challenge you today to become disruptors in your own right. Disrupt the silence around mental health in your communities. Disrupt the monolithic thinking that erases our differences. Disrupt the systems that weren't built to support our unique needs. The revolution in Black mental health has begun, and you are standing at its frontier. Will you have the courage to speak the unspeakable? Will you have the vision to see beyond the surface? Will you have the compassion to hold space for the full spectrum of Black experiences? Our ancestors survived unimaginable trauma so that we could do more than just survive. They fought so we could thrive. Honoring their sacrifice means claiming our right to complete wellness, mind, body, and spirit. The future of Black mental wellness isn't just about healing from the past, it's about creating new possibilities for generations to come. When we attend to our psychological well being, we don't just transform individual lives, we transform the trajectory of entire communities. This is your call to action. This is your moment to lead. This is your opportunity to redefine what it means to be well in Black America. Thank you.